Hi, my name is Luke Hamilton, and this presentation is going to be about intelligence and whether it's primarily developed through nature or nurture. First off, this question doesn't make a whole lot of sense. For example, I'll start with a metaphor. A slice of bread goes stale over a period of a week. Was it more so due to the environment the bread was in, or the chemical composition of it? Obviously, neither of these questions make sense, and furthermore, applying a degree to how much either side contributed can't be taken seriously. According to Leda Tooby and Kosmides, two leading practitioners in evolutionary psychology, they state that how an organism will react to the environment around it is up to its evolved cognitive architecture. There's usually two different claims being made by researchers in this area. One claim is that a trait is attributed entirely to genetics or entirely to culture. This is ridiculous and cannot be taken seriously because there is no such thing as an entirely genetic or environmental trait. For example, a person may be extremely prone to running, like Usain Bolt, but if he wasn't raised in an environment where he would use his legs, then he would never have developed the ability to run as fast as he could now. If his parents simply pushed him around in a wheelchair rather than making him run, he wouldn't be the same as he was today. When saying something is completely environmental, people lose credibility because something cannot be completely environmental. Otherwise, there has to be a genetic framework for a trait to develop. It can't simply come out of training. A person can be trained to play music, but that's because they have the ability. They can use their fingers, they can use their hands, they can keep time. Konrad Lorenz was a 1950s researcher who viewed that if a behavior was developed in different environments and developed the same way with different phenomena happening. Okay, if a trait is developed in isolation as well as not being developed as well as developing without isolation, then that behavior was instinctive. However, Daniel Lerman, another researcher, stated that no organism can be developed no organism can be developed in isolation completely because they have to get their food from somewhere, and so therefore they will develop off of that. John Locke stated that all ideas come from sensation or reflection. And this is true as well, and it goes with my argument. He stated that you have to reflect back on your thoughts in order to actually get a full developed understanding of it, and a full developed understanding of why you did something, or once you make a decision, reflecting back on it, and then you get deeper appreciation for the effects of what you did or the effects of what someone else did. Many personality types are more so genetic. A person can be raised in the exact same area as another person and affected by the same exact personal experiences, but will still react differently. This can only be attributed to genetics. They have a different mindset. Their mind has developed differently, whether through puberty or through just growing up in general, or through their own experiences. Like, for example, if a child sees his father die, then he hypothetically will have less empathy than someone who was raised with all their grandparents and all their family. Also, the alpha or beta male personality types can also be explained through genetics. People can be taught to be less shy or be less timid but the underlying genetics that made them shy to begin with are still there. Increasing fluid intelligence is something that two researchers thought they could do. They used brain building software and the NBAC game to get more people to increase their fluid intelligence and increase what they can do. However, it showed only at the end of the study that it was only 4.4 matrix questions which were answered better. They thought that this would mean that IQ could increase, that people could train themselves to be smarter. However, that's not actually what happened. Adrian Owen, he did a research on a sample size of 11,430. He got these people together and he had them all take IQ tests. And then he did brain building software for the next 7 weeks. And he found that over all of it, while people did increase their ability on the specific questions that they did and that they trained on, none of this ever transferred to actual real life applications. And it didn't transfer to areas which use the same type of cognitive ability. Dean Keith Simonton. So, expertise acquisition theory is the idea that people, in order to be geniuses in their field, have to spend at least 10 years acquiring knowledge and fully understanding their material. Dean Keith Simonton, he did a book on the science of genius, and he stated that this idea was false because most geniuses that we know of today were just pioneering new fields. They didn't have anything to go on. They just went off like Galileo, looking at the moon. He's recognized as a genius today. Or Isaac Newton, creating calculus. He also stated that geniuses don't put all of their time into a single area. A lot of them are more open-minded, like Einstein, who played music. Canalization was developed by C.H. Waddington. It's the idea that that traits come up, traits can develop within a variety of factors. For example, canalization basically works like this. Trait A, it can develop with resource A. Trait B develops with resource A and B, and trait C develops with resource A, B, and C. Therefore, trait C is the most canalized because it developed in a wide variety of environments. It's better than using the concept of innateness because innateness says that a trait...
How valid and reliable are the sources that you used, and how do you know?
They're very reliable because canalization is used a lot in research papers today, and also in colleges, and John Locke's a very well-known, renowned 16th century philosopher. Evolutionary psychology has been called a pseudoscience by some. However, it's still being practiced today in colleges and still being practiced outside, and people are being paid for researching it.
Now explain the level of certainty you have about your conclusion, solution, or recommendation.
I have great certainty in it because, as I was getting to, innateness, it makes the argument that a trait will happen no matter what, because it's innate. However, the environment around it is necessary for it to develop in the first place.